Hello everyone, this is Yael from Yael Alchemy, and I'm here to bring you the weekly twin flame message for the week of July 1st to the 7th. Okay, so we're entering July just after the solstice, and it's eclipse season. Okay, this week, tomorrow, well, it's today in where I am. But sometime tomorrow, there's going to be a new moon solar eclipse, and that's going to be in Cancer. Okay, because right now we just finished with Gemini, we're entering Cancer, and this new moon is this eclipse is going to be in Cancer. And later on in the month, we have several things going on. We have a lot of planets in retrograde. Mercury will go retrograde on the 7th. And I'm expecting a lot of hiccups when it comes to technology and messages and all that. But you know, retrogrades are fine if you know how to get the best out of them. And I would think that by this time, you're quite adept at going with the flow whenever it's retrograde. We're not that surprised anymore, except that most of it occurs in hindsight. It's like, oh, how come this happened? And I forgot, it's Mercury's in retrograde, no wonder. Okay, and later on in the month, we're going to have a full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn, sometime mid-month, on the 17th actually. And we're going to talk about that when the time comes. But we've ushered in a new month, and we'll see what that holds for twins, for twin flames. And at least for the first week, let's look at the messages. The solstice was a big one for the divine masculine. Okay, and I would like to thank everybody who got the solstice booster, especially those who got the solstice booster for their twins. I got great feedback from that because it really did help their twins, and coming into to terms with their divine feminine aspect. Okay, so thanks, and I think it's still up on my website. As long as it's up there, you can still get the booster. So do check that out. Anyway, let's look at our cards for the week. As always, I've already prayed over the cards and shuffled them. And at the bottom of the deck, we have here the Lady of Coins. Okay, so very practical energy, but still emerging. And this comes on the tail of all those downloads that happened during the solstice, and that's why it's still a Lady of Coins, a very young energy, because after all the integrating, which is still going on, by the way, this is how do you slowly move forward with all these codes that you've just downloaded, and how do you apply it practically, because coins, okay, tangible, talking about life in 3D. How do you apply that into your life in 3D now? And then we have here the Six of Coins, again, Pentacles. So there is an emphasis on really how to bring those downloads, how to apply it in your life in a very practical and tangible way. Because that was the purpose of all those downloads. Remember, we're ushering the planet to be stabilized into the new Earth. And we can't do that if it's all in the upper chakras. We're moving down now to the root chakra so that it can be grounded, and it can benefit more people on the planet, not just those who were tasked to amplify, to receive the codes. We actually have to pass it on. And this is exactly what the Six of Coins is telling us. Because both twins, after integrating this energy, or still integrating it, really trying to find a way how to pass that knowledge on. It's like technology transfer, and how to uplift everybody that's in their soul family, those they interact with, trying to give them a piece of what they've received during the solstice and in their own ascension journey. Okay, so there, giving to those who still do not have. Look, this child is still in a lower position, while the other child who holds the coin, he's trying to give the small child that coin, and look at how he's reaching the position of his hand. It's not here, this is for you. It's here, this is what you can get. Come and get it. Okay, so that's where both twins are at. Kind of like a recruitment effort. Okay, but now in terms that those who have not begun their ascension journey, in terms that they understand, because it's very practical, it's very tangible. Okay, and the next, and see here, we have the Sun card, which is just what I was saying. All this is heading towards the enlightenment of those who have not yet achieved that, or who have not yet begun the journey. Because it's like when you're a good leader, the success of those that you mentor, that you coach, that redounds back to you, that reflects back to you. A good leader does not sort of resent the success of those, or let's say a good leader or a good boss. If somebody that you supervise becomes successful, and even to the brink of even surpassing you, there are other bosses or leaders or mentors who sort of resent that, because they're no longer in the spotlight, and they know exactly, actually, that moment when the student becomes better, more improved than the teacher. But that situation really does happen. And in the situation of twins and twin flames, especially given our mission here, this is going to bring a lot of joy, a lot of enlightenment, not only to those that you've helped and you've interacted with, you've shared your energy with. It also redounds to your benefit, which is why this is just joy, happiness, and bliss all around. It's like you're happy with your handiwork, but you don't take the credit. It wasn't because of you alone. It was a collective effort of all twins. So if you notice that people around you are, well, in terms of character, in terms of choices, they've put more thought into what they do. They're doing it more consciously, whatever their choices are. That's partly because of you, okay? Because we've anchored down this energy, this ascension, the codes for ascension, so that it can ripple. It's like a ripple effect to others. And that's why there's the Sun card here. And even this, here we have the Nine of Swords, and you can see here this represents the sword of Damocles and the dread that that one feels while passing through. It's like passing through the gauntlet. Okay, and so the others that it's mostly because this enlightenment will actually even bring to the fore what other people have been fearing, and what they should not have been fearful of. Okay, it's like that epiphany that I was so scared of this, but then again, because now they're looking at things in an elevated way, it was not as scary as they made it out to be. Okay, and that is also something, and that's why this is also an emerging energy, the Lady of Staffs. Okay, the twins are bringing to the fore. Okay, aside from giving them the tools and the opportunity to gain a higher perspective as regards their existence, their consciousness, and their life here, twins are also, with their newfound codes, that's why it's also an emerging energy again, are shedding light on these things that are feared. Okay, whether that's the belief of limitation, the belief of believing or thinking that one has nowhere else to go from this point forward, that this is as good as it gets, basically. So twins are going to be to shed light on this, because part of the dread here, the anxiety, is the fact that it's the shadows, it's the angle. Look, very awkward positioning of this man here. And basically it's more of a timing thing also, and twins are going to help others see that from a clearer, a more illumined perspective. And here, the last card that I'm called to read is this. That's why it's from here, from this elevated position, that we gain a better appreciation of the things, the dreams that you wished for, because that all these things, whether or not they have come to pass already or that they are still in the works, they have built that foundation for this stag to stand on, in a higher perspective. In other words, your dreams were the fuel, what you wanted to achieve in 3D, whether in terms of relationship, in career, in finances. All of those served as fuel and motivation for your own ascension journey, and this is really propelling you to this height from which you can view everything else in perspective. Okay, so twins getting after being infused with the solstice downloads, the solstice codes, the ascension codes that came with that, twins getting ready to not replay, but really amplify that to others. And that's why, because it's just the first week, that's why it's still a young energy, and we get the ladies have shown up. Okay, now let's move on to the divine masculine, and here's the divine feminine. For the divine masculine, we have the Knight of Coins. We have the Chariot. We have the Moon card. And we have the Queen of Vessels. And the solstice was very important, as I said, because it helped the divine masculine really come to grips, come to terms with the divine feminine aspect inside of him, which is why it makes sense that his energy right now is the Knight of Coins. Very cautious as regards how he applies this in his 3D life. Again, we get coins because it's very practical, tangible. It's 3D. Okay, after getting the downloads in 5D, integrating that into 3D, and we have the Knight of Coins being he reminds me, it's like a cautious driver, look to your left before you merge, make sure your hand signals are up before you make a turn, and all that. Okay, very prudent. not that careless anymore, because he has divested himself of that energy, that patriarchal male archetype energy of really just railroading, towering in, this is what I want, this is what's going to happen, regardless, really, without much thought about the consequences. And now we have a more consequence conscious male, okay, and he's being very, very careful moving forward. And the next card we have here is the Chariot card, and this is the direction that he's heading. In other decks, you can see the Chariot card, and it's very visible that both horses are going in opposite directions, and the driver is truly challenged, because he has to rein both horses and get them to one direction. But in this deck, we actually know where that chariot is heading, because we have the sun here, and that's where the divine masculine is heading. Okay, he took a while to prepare and to actually figure out his preferences in this lifetime. Some of the divine masculines have had to do that by experience. It's by trial and error, really going through it. Whether it's going through a karmic partner and figuring out that it's not for him, or exploring this job. It was a hands-on training for the divine masculines, for most of them, because initially, when you talk about ascension journey, most of them, especially those who don't have a background in things metaphysical, esoteric, they look at it with skepticism. Okay, but divine masculine now has gone past that, figured out what he prefers to experience in this lifetime, with the guidance of his higher self. He's filtered that. It's like distilling what he's getting, but in a very, well, I would say almost a crude way, because it's a trial and error. That, okay, it's like feeling it, and then you've already felt it, and that's when you say that this is not working for me. Okay, but here, very conscious, very cautious, very prudent, as the divine masculine heads on to further enlightenment. Okay, and you can see here that this is salt, Mercury, and Earth, I think. But those are the building blocks of this new Earth that is centered around this sun. The sun represents that energy that is really catapulting and forming new Earth. Okay, so that's where the divine masculine is headed. At least he's headed there. We know he's headed there. And while he's on this journey, you can see that he's now more intuitive, more listening to his intuition and what he truly needs. And this is very significant, because we have just entered Cancer. And in astrology, when it's like your this is equivalent to your moon sign. It's what you truly need, because the sun sign depicts your outer personality, how people perceive you. But when you get to your moon sign, it's what will make you truly satisfied, truly content, what you think is essential on a soul level for you to feel that satisfaction in life. And divine masculine become very intuitive, listening right now to that small voice within them that they used to just dismiss outright. Okay, because it didn't seem to fit that box of the male archetype that he was, the paradigm that he used to be in, that was so forceful, so almost violent and unstoppable. Okay, now he's listening more to his voice in the quiet, himself, because he's gotten in touch with his higher self. His higher self now sending him messages, and he is wiser enough to tap into that guidance. Okay, so this, I feel more, is being intuitive rather than being confused, overwhelmed with emotions. He's moving forward, like I said, very consciously and cautiously. And this, despite the fact that the last card we have for the Divine Masculine is the Queen of Vessels. Okay, again, working with the heart and moving forward. But here we have a sort of, it's like a Queen of Cups with a twist. Okay, here you see this queen, and she holds this vessel in her hand. She's quite bare. This is the Divine Masculine becoming very vulnerable. They're finding themselves in a very vulnerable position, because look at these two cards. Okay, very much a feely type of card. Okay, so that's what they're going through. And the Queen of Vessels being very vulnerable, okay, wearing practically nothing, but holding what they hope to have in their hand. So this would be like the output of their heart-based effort at moving forward into the new earth. Except you can see that question mark atop this vessel here. Okay, so this really talks about a mystery. Okay, not knowing what the outcome is, but knowing that this is the right way to move forward. And that basically sums up the Divine Masculine this week, wherein he is being guided by intuition, by his heart, because he already has a direction. Okay, he set the course, but it's the pathway going there that he is very smartly listening to his intuition, because it is a pathway. They're showing me now. It's like it's like the path is being illumined slowly, slowly, slowly. You have, it's like a spotlight. You know how in a darkened theater the spotlight possibly goes passes through the audience and slowly goes up to the star of the show. It's kind of like that with the Divine Masculine now. Little by little, but surely, it's being illuminated where he has to go, what the way forward is. And he's listening to that. And he's actually trusting that. Okay? Even if he doesn't know what the outcome is. And, well, as far as mirroring goes, the Divine Feminine has gone through this. And it was nerve-wracking, really. Okay, but I'm pretty sure that the Divine Masculines, with your energetic help, will be fine. Okay, and the next card we have is Flexible. See, and this really encompasses why the Divine Masculine is like this right now. He is divesting himself of that rigidity. I was going to say rigidness, that rigidity that he used to have. It's not my way or the highway anymore. It's really what's going to be best, what's going to be best for me. Okay, and if he goes down a path that doesn't work out for him, he's open to reconfiguring. He's not putting his foot down and continuing driving down the wrong direction. He's becoming more pliable, and that is because of that divine feminine energy that he is integrating within him. Okay, so now let's go to the divine feminines. Okay, we have the Queen of Swords. We have the Lovers. We have the Eight of Staffs. And we have the Strength card. Okay. Now we start off with the Queen of Swords, and I like this card when it comes to the Divine Feminine, because it's this is the card of Athena. Okay, battle ready, smart as a whip, and yet it's not lost on us that she embodies the feminine. So this is a very good card to have, especially if you are moving forward. And what the Queen of Swords tells us is that the Divine Feminine is more discerning this week, especially when evaluating her relationships. Her relationships. Later, I'll speak on that. Okay, because this Queen of Swords, this is knowing what is ready as represented by the ripe red wing, and the upright sword, versus what is still immature, unripe, what still needs work. But this time, it's more as if she were in the, excuse me, in the shoes of being a professor. Okay, because there's the overview there brought on by experience, and the people that she deals with on a day-to-day basis, her twin included. Okay, those that she gives her energy to, and that is what is represented by this, the lovers. Relationships, whether intimate, and it's represented by the Lovers card now because we're in an elevated way of interacting with other people in multiple dimensions already. Okay, but this represents various relationships, various people that she interacts with on different levels. And this would be the very wise overview of the Divine Feminine. It's like she knows exactly how to deal with those she interacts with, because she can assess where this person is still immature, unripe, and where that person has a deeper sense of understanding, of a deeper, it's like a deeper appreciation of where they're at, and an acknowledgement of what has already ripened in them. Okay, but this ability, it's almost a skill set that allows her to interact in a more effective way with those people that are around her. Okay, and this we have here, I'm gonna keep that there. We have the Eight of Wands, Eight of Staffs, and the Eight of Staffs in this deck, this is represented rather by staffs that are lit on fire at the top. And here we see a woodcutter here, and he's trying to chop down one because they're on fire. They're literally on fire. This is actually a very panicky, frantic energy, okay? Because he doesn't want the whole staff to be burning into the ground or to affect whatever is surrounding these staffs. So, again, with the discernment of the Divine Feminine, she knows when to put the brakes on relationships that are burning, spiraling out of control, and are going to affect the other aspects in her life if she doesn't give it the right amount of attention that she needs to give it. Okay, because this is saying that she is wise enough not to force the issue with some people that she's in a relationship with, whether that's her family, that those are co-workers, knowing that this fire, this intense burning of what they want, because that's the clash. It's a clash of really interests. What other people want, especially here, I'm talking about in 3D, okay? What other people want versus what you want, what they want to happen versus if your vision is different, then there's going to be a conflict there. Okay, but as you navigate your life and you get into all these different kinds of relationships, Divine Feminine, knowing how to temper her reactions to those so that it doesn't spiral out of control, it doesn't burn down to the ground. It's a very controlled and mature way of dealing, especially with those that are still unripe. So that's where the compassion of this queen comes in. Okay, it may be, she may represent tough love, but do not discount the love that is behind that toughness. Okay, and this again is the discernment. As she manages the relationships that she has with the people around her, and seeing what needs to be tempered, what needs to go. You can see her chopping the whole staff. But this is going to happen very fast, especially because we're in the eclipse season and everybody's going to be affected. Okay, and we have the new moon in Capricorn, and what, on a very intuitive level, most people will see that as a halftime wake-up call. Okay, we're halfway through the year, and this will hit them very emotionally because it's more like half the year has gone by. And what do I really want? What have I achieved in this past 6 months? And that's going to be very emotional for them. And usually those emotions are going to translate into action eventually. Okay, and that kind of action will depend on how mature they are, how ripe, how evolved, how much of the ascension journey they have taken. Okay, because this is vis-a-vis somebody operating purely from ego, and that's going to result into a lashing out at people around them because they don't know how to process their feelings in a constructive way, and it's like facing themselves in the mirror. Okay, especially when it comes to producing that status report for themselves mid-year. And see, so there. And as I was saying earlier, that's why we have the Strength card here. Because this is balance, okay? And while the Lovers represents the people surrounding the Divine Feminine, those she interacts with and she has some sort of a relationship with, doesn't have to be romantic. Okay, this is coming into balance because you've tempered whatever fires there are. It's like calming down those fires, putting them out as you see fit, so that that relationship can come back into balance. Okay, on the other hand, the Strength card also signifies reunions. Reunions of lovers. Okay, physical reunions. Because you have here the sun and the moon, and look, they both, it's like both pouring themselves into one flaming heart. And you can see the lion is green, representing the heart chakra, and the woman is riding the lion. Okay, and here, while the while some relationships will be sort of fragmented because of all these different desires that you want all at once. In others, it's going to be a passionate reunion, possibly unexpected, coming very fast with your twin flames. Okay? And this is unexpected. This is all of a sudden, and it's there, and you have to really act fast. Seize the day, seize that opportunity, and do it with this discernment so that it goes, the best possible way it can go. Because sometimes when these opportunities to come together for a reunion come, while the ideal is that both people have achieved a certain level of mastery, right? It often does not happen that way. We've seen it because in the collective, divine masculines most of the time catching up with the divine feminines. So there will definitely be other aspects in your divine masculine's personality that have not yet been polished to perfection. But the task is to recognize what those are and to deal with them accordingly. Okay? So that's it for the divine feminines. And the card that we have for her is here, co-create. And here you see a cheetah, and you see Humpty Dumpty, and you see the owl on a tightrope. And so again, this is balance. It really reflects what I was speaking on earlier, that this balance of fast and slow and wisdom. Everything, all these, it's like all these cards that I just spoke about were merged into this one card. Okay? Because you were creating where you're going. Divine Masculine knows where he wants to head, and while he's on the journey, Divine Feminine's trying to make improvements in aspects of all her other relationships, and quite possibly, if he moves fast enough and he is further along in his ascension journey, then this reunion could happen this week or this month. Okay, but the most success will be had if the divine feminine is discerning. So because this will all come into balance. That speed, that this the egg here represents being very delicate. It hasn't hatched it. It's like an egg. Outer shell, very tough. It's like the divine masculines here. Outer shell, very tough, but inside, if, not yet cooked, very soft. Okay? And here, this is the owl, symbolizing that wisdom that is needed. Okay? So I'm going to pick a card in the middle for both twins. Okay, Queen of Staffs. Again, this is a more mature energy than the ladies that we saw at the bottom of the deck. Okay, because here, very passionate, very authentic. You can see that's why one breast is bared there. And here she has two staffs. You have one very elaborate, it's like a gold filigreed torch, and the other one is a very simple torch, a very crude torch. And that's why this again reflects this ripe and unripe theme. Okay, because the Queen of Staffs, she goes full on ahead, really authentic, bearing herself to those, for those who have matured already, especially in their ascension journey, full steam ahead, knowing what she's dealing with. But look, with those with the relationships that she has with other folks that are not yet, with folks who are not yet quite done, or like underripe, undercooked just yet, then it's very, it's what she chooses to reveal at this time, he or she, both twins. It's very curated, so to speak. Okay, very particular about what you reveal to those who are not ready yet for the knowledge. And this is in essence, because they're showing me a vision now of the High Priestess. This is really the journey that we're on. Okay, when you delve into the sacred mysteries, the mystery shall be revealed to you at a time when you are most ready to understand it. Now, this energy, while being very passionate and moving forward in all this, okay, this is the understanding that for those who are not ready yet, then she can't force it. Okay, she or he can't force it. And it must be taken into context as regards her moving forward. Her passion must be tempered by that wisdom that other people cannot absorb, that that knowledge, that new way of life, just quite yet. Okay, so that's what I have for you this week, and quite long, but very important. It's like the post game because we just had the solstice, and that's why we have all these messages on how to move forward. Okay, so again, this is a general reading for those who would like personal readings. Please do visit my website, and of course, the Ascension Booster, the Solstice Booster is still up there. And do see if you need some energetic tools, what is up there on the website that may help you, and I would be privileged and really glad to be part of your journey. Okay, so take care, everyone. Enjoy the week. Bye.